Hey, welcome to Leviatross Gaming. If you're new here, you might be lost, but feel free to rest a while. If you're returning, nice to see you again. So today I'm going to be playing Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. If you liked my Pillars of Eternity gameplay, hopefully you'll like this one as well. And I'm going into this completely blind. I've only set up my settings for the game and haven't started playing it at all. So let's jump in together. Alright, let's go with the main story. Difficulty normal seems fair. I think I'm going to want to make my own character. Let's see what they have. Yeah, let's go with a custom character. Now, I will say I would prefer if my character looked like their portrait, so I might be picking a portrait and then customizing my character around that. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and see classes, characters, and then come back to that. So there are a ton of classes. I'm going to read through them, even though a lot of them don't really have a lot of meaning to me at the moment. But we got Alchemist, Arcanist, Barbarian, Bard, Bloodrager, Cavalier, Cleric, Druid, Fighter, Hunter, Inquisitor, Kineticist, Magus, Monk, Oracle, Paladin, Ranger, Rogue, Shaman, Skald, Slayer, Sorcerer, War Priest, Witch, and Wizard. We also got these other ones that have prerequisites. I'm guessing you can opt into them later on during your playthrough. But for now, I'm going to go with a rogue, pretty standard, like typical class, but one that I enjoy. I like sneaking in, getting some damage in. So each class has these different subclasses, I'm guessing. Let's read through them. We get Eldritch Scoundrel, Knife Master, Master of All, Rowdy, Sylvan Trickster, Thug, and Underground Chemist. So it sounds like for my finesse approach, wanting to sneak around, get some critical hits, it sounds like Knife Master is the best approach. I also want to be a bit charismatic and open up opportunities through dialogue, but it sounds like there's no subclass that really specializes in that. So I think I'll go with Knife Master and then try pinning some stats into charisma later on. So for the races, we got human, elf, dwarf, gnome, halfling, half elf, half orc, Azamar, tiefling, Ored, Dhampir, and Kitsune. If I am mispronouncing some of those, I have never heard of them before and haven't even read them before, so trying my best. Alright, I think the coolest race seems like the Dhampir, which are basically the half-living children of vampires. However, they have some odd race traits, such as reacting as if they're undead to negative and positive energy. So positive energy harms them, and negative energy heals them. So I think for a first playthrough, I'm going to keep it a little more simple. I'm going to go with Tiefling. That's basically the children of humans and fiends. But sounds like an interesting backstory, interesting origin, and not anything that's no race traits that's gonna like complicate things too much. Basically, just get resistance and then some type of heritage. After looking forward on the next step, it seems like Tiefling heritage basically lets you pick what type of fiend you're born from. So looking into that. So far, Beast Brood sounds like what I want to go with for +2 bonus to Dexterity and Charisma, which seems like the main stats I'm going to focus on. -2 to Wisdom isn't that bad. I'm not planning on using magic. And then +2 on Perception and Persuasion, which is also pretty good. And I can blind opponents, which is a nice little bonus. Alright, after looking through them, I think Beast Brood seems to be the best fit. The Dexterity Charisma is the highest priority stats for me. And then there's the Tiefling option, just the standard, but the resistances, they don't seem to be much appeal. And they also get a -2 penalty to Charisma. So Beast Brood it is. So there's quite a few different backgrounds that each adds a little bit of a backstory and it gives you a few bonuses, mainly specializing in different weapons. But for the character that I'm looking for, I'm thinking the Hunter approach will probably be the best. Hermit also kind of makes sense, or Nomad, but I think Hunter, get the bow proficiencies, I think will work out. So now that I've decided on Tiefling, let's go ahead and update the character portrait. I'm thinking this one makes sense. Actually, I'll go with this one. So like I've decided, Dexterity and Charisma seems to be the focus, but let's see just how many points I can put into either. Okay, so 20 is the max. And I can't do that for both. Let's go and take some from Constitution and put that in here. Strength, I want it to be at least decent for doing melee attacks. Constitution, I don't really need. Wisdom, I can do a little, I'll do alright without. And then intelligence I wasn't too worried about, but it affects the number of skill points I gain when I level up, so I want that to be at least pretty good. Dexterity and charisma can come down a little bit. Give it to intelligence. And yeah, I think this looks pretty decent. Min-max and dexterity, intelligence, charisma. Strength I'd like to be a little bit higher, but I guess we can take it from here. Yeah, I think that's more balanced. So skill points, let's see. So there's quite a few different skills. I think persuasion's gonna be one of the most important. Can only pick one in each. Okay. So looking through athletics, mobility, trickery, stealth, knowledge. I'd like to know about the world. Arcana, nature, not too worried about. Same with religion. Perception seems useful. And yeah, that seems fine. So there are a lot of different feats. So I was thinking going with Deceitful to get +2 on Persuasion and Trickery, but Persuasive gives me +2 on Persuasion and Perception. I think I'll go with that one. I basically want all of the dialogue options available so I can open the most doors. Things that help me with combat, I can probably get through the fight anyway, just with a little more difficulty. But the stuff about options and possibilities is something that's going to be restricted based on my stats. So now I have to choose a deity. Alright, I wanted to go with Chaotic Good, so that closes off a lot of these deities. So I'm going to go with Callistria. She's the goddess of lust and revenge who takes on faces and guises, so I think that makes sense for my rogue character. And I wanted it to be something I want to try out and see what happens when you choose a deity, because atheism seemed pretty safe, but I wanted to see what would happen. So Callistria it is. Morality, alignment, like I said, chaotic good. I want to be able to do what I think is right, but regardless of what the laws are. So personalizing. As a tiefling, is my hood permanently up? There we go. Alright, I think this is how my character will look. Actually, to make it look a little more like the portrait, let's go with the white horns. There isn't any eye color that's like white or blue like in the photo, but I think this will be fine. It's kind of hard to imagine any of these voices coming from this guy, but I think pragmatic is a decent one.
This will hurt. We will be victorious. Calm down.
Leviatross as usual. I'm not sure what the birth date has to do with anything, what it affects of the character, but Neth sounds like a pretty cool month, and then 17's a decent number. Alright, so we got a chaotic good tiefling with average strength, high dexterity, so a little not great constitution, intelligence, pretty low wisdom, but high charisma. That's a knife master. And not sure what any of this really means yet. Abilities seem pretty decent. Skills are looking pretty good. Decent athletics, high mobility, trickery, stealth, knowledge of the world, perception, and persuasion. I got rogue proficiency, simple weapons, short and longbow. I want to focus on daggers, but that should be able to fit into this. And let's get started. Well, I got my character created and the sun has set, so that seems like a good time to call it. Character creation took a lot longer than I was expecting. There's a lot of reading involved, but stay tuned for part 2 where we actually start the game and figure out what it's about and where I fit into it.